everybody. It's time for working on the January 2017 Pick-a-Stick Challenge. As you can see, I have some stuff pulled out onto my desk here. Our steps are: add a photo, add black marker or pen, use a map, write random words in 3 places, use something from a different hobby, add numbers, extend a page, use wood shapes, add tea or coffee, and add some lace. We also are starting now this year to have a wild card stick, which is make a pocket, and I'm leaning towards using that in place of extend a page. My photo is a photo of my donkeys. This is Dumpling and this is Dominic. They're spoiled, rotten, and they were looking for treats in this picture, so I'm going to use that. Map, I printed out some clip art that I had purchased a while back that had all kinds of old maps and papers and things. And this is a lovely vintagey looking. I love the colors in this. It may not show up real good on camera because I have an awful lot of light coming in right now. But there's tans and greens and browns and reds, and it I don't know if it has a year on it or not. And I may only use the part that's got Texas on it because that's where I'm at, and that's where Dumpling and Dominic are. So that's my map. Something from a different hobby. I'm leaning towards either beads from my jewelry making stash of stuff, or some buttons, which technically would be sewing, even though that's not my hobby. It still is another hobby. Use wood shapes. I have some Scrabble tiles here that spell out donkey. Add tea or coffee. I have a couple of options there. That's step 9, and step 10 is lace. So here's my lace. And rather than take the time to actually brew up some super strong tea and color this, which was my original thought, I pulled out my Distress ink pad that's called Tea Dye. I also have a Glimmer Mist that's called Coffee Shop. So between the two of them, I'm going to color some of this lace and kind of combine, add 9 and 10. My donkey picture, I think I'm going to make it kind of into a tag and then have that go in the pocket that I'm going to make. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I also pulled out all my coffee and tea dyed tags, papers. I use a lot of this when I make junk journals. You can see I've got all kinds of papers here that are index cards, all kinds of stuff. Doilies, even old envelopes that I've tea stained. So I may use some of that to incorporate the add tea or coffee part. I'm not really sure. I'll figure it out when I get there. So that's where we're headed. Lord only knows what it's going to end up looking like. I think I'm going to use this mop-up page. It's either Glimmer Mists or Tattered Angel sprays. I don't know. It's got shimmery sprays on it. And then I'm going to work with Distress inks and something over the top of it. I've never really used a lot of Distress inks for my backgrounds because they're so water reactive and they don't stay put. So we'll see how that goes. It may or may not work out. Don't know. That's part of the fun of doing this, and that's part of the fun of mixed media is learning, exploring, and experimenting. So sit back and relax. We'll put on some music and speed it up a little bit for you, and we'll see how my donkey page turns out. Appreciate you coming by, guys. Thanks. So I'm starting out with step 1, which is add a photo, and I'm going to turn my picture of Dumpling and Dominic into a tag. And I just up front have a confession that I totally messed up the steps at the end. 9 and 10 are not where they should be, so go ahead and send the art police after me. It's okay. So I'm going to just very simply take some Distress ink and go around the edges of the tag, and that's really all I'm going to do to this. It didn't really need anything else because obviously the focus is the picture of my donkeys. I'm just going to affix that to the tag with some score tape. Alright, so I'm going to go back to this mop-up page and I'm going to take some of the same colors of Distress ink. I think I've got Tea Dye, Rusty Hinge, and Vintage Photo here, and I'm just going to work the edges of this page. I had visions of adding a whole lot more to this page, but as I got going and knowing that the Distress inks are so water reactive, I just kind of left well enough alone. I liked the softness of it, and yet the neutrals of the colors that I chose, they went well with both the picture of the donkeys and the map image that I used. So here is step number 2, add black marker or pen, and I'm just going to simply do a squiggly border all around the edge and add a few little kind of hash mark things and a few dots, and that's it. Okay, so step 3, use a map. I did go ahead and semi-fussy cut this map out. I didn't do a real great job of it, but that's okay. And I'm just going to attach this to my page with some matte gel medium. Nothing fancy. And also by going over this map with the matte gel, that seals it, because this was just printed on my inkjet printer. So had I opted to do any more treatments over it that were water based, that could have potentially smeared really bad. So here is step number 4, write random words in at least 3 places, and I think I did 4 or more, but I just wrote the names of the donkeys in a couple places and a few other little words. Trying really hard not to overthink my pages and overwork my pages this year. This was still about an hour-long video that I had to edit down, so I don't know if I was successful or not. So here is my step 5, use something from a different hobby, and I picked out some buttons that I'm going to put around the corners that kind of pick up some of the colors that I used, and I'm just attaching these with some of the Super Gloss Heavy Gel. I could have used glue dots or hot glue or something else, but you know, the gel was at hand, so that's what I used. Alright, here is step number 6, add numbers. This is a stencil that I cut on my Silhouette Cameo, and I had a really hard time lining these numbers up because, as you can see on the stencil, the 1 is up by itself and then the 2, 3, 4, 5 are down below. Didn't do a great job lining these up, but that's okay. It's just ink and paper. And then I got, as I was doing that and looking at the stencil, it's like there's all kinds of neat elements on this page, so I'm going to utilize those arrows. Like here, I'm going to have them point right down to the Texas, and then I'm going to do a couple other little things that's going to bring more arrows and directions around pointing at Texas, since that's where I'm at and that's where my donkeys are. And I just, as I said earlier, I kind of got going here and liked the softer look of just the ink through the stencils, and I decided not to do anything else to it. Sometimes less is more, although that's a hard lesson with mixed media. Alright, so step 7 originally was extend a page, and I chose to use the wild card option, which was make a pocket. So I'm just very simply making a pocket with some craft cardstock, just like I used to make the tag, doing a little inking and stenciling on it. And then this is where my steps got really messed up. So now I'm working with steps number 9 and 10. So I've jumped from step 7 to 9 and 10, and I'm combining 9 and 10 with my lace, and I'm using Coffee Shop spray on it, which is add to your coffee. That's step 9. With step 10, add some lace. So you can see what's happening here. I'm out of whack because then I'm going to take the lace that I colored, and it's going to be part of the pocket that I put on. So in a way, I combined steps 7 and 9 and 10. Yeah, what can I say? Sometimes I'm a rule breaker. Alright, so now I'm coming back to step 8 and adding my wood shapes, which are the Scrabble blocks, and I'm attaching them with some glue dots, because glue dots are super duper sticky and I know they'll stay put. And that's pretty much about it for this page. I'm kind of tickled with how it came out, but then because, you know, it features my donkeys, what can I say? So I hope you'll play along with us over at the Pick a Stick Facebook page. I'll link everything below for you, so you can come and join us and see what everybody else is making. It's an awful lot of fun. Make sure if you post your project on social media, you use the hashtag PASC0117. So thanks for coming by. I hope you have a fabulous day, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks, guys.